Popular drone manufacturer DJI have been hot on the heels of both GoPro and Insta360. Now they're jumping into the modular small action camera space that was practically invented by Insta360 5 years ago with this, the DJI OSMO Nano. Back in 2021, DJI's follow-up to the first ever Osmo action camera was the Action 2. The brand temporarily dropped the Osmo name and also the more standard design, opting for a small modular design that's paired a camera unit with either an additional LCD or a battery unit. In many ways, the Osmo Nano is a 2025 incarnation, with a camera unit sporting a lens that offers a 143-degree field of view and connects up with a multifunctional vision dock that provides the LCD and can be used remotely up to 10 meters away from the camera unit. The camera unit alone comes shaped like a small rectangle, a bit larger than a thumb, with a pronounced lens at one end, and shares the dark semi-transparent plastic build material that we've seen on some DJI microphones. To be fair, it's a little larger than I had imagined, but it also carries a slightly textured finish, meaning it's easy to grab onto with cold, wet or sweaty hands. Even though it's a different shape to the Insta360 GO Ultra, its closest competitor, the GO Ultra is slimmer and kind of feels smaller in the hand. Anyways, the rectangle design does make it easier to balance on some surfaces, either vertically or horizontally, and thanks to its built-in magnets, it can be magnetically attached to metal objects with ease, from both side and rear, making mounting the camera to different objects in order to capture varying viewpoints a quick and easy procedure. Other than a single shutter button, there's not much more to the camera unit. Without the dock, it's a light wearable action camera at just 52 grams, perfect for mounting to yourself without adding uncomfortable weight. Adding the dock, by way of 2 secure mounting clips and a magnetic connection that guides it, adds another 72 grams and turns the camera into a more complete action companion. The attachment is reasonably strong too. While the 2 sections are guided in by magnets, they're actually held by clips which you do need to check to make sure they catch. So it's not completely foolproof and they need to be released before removing, which is reassuring for use in more bumpy conditions. There's just one built-in OLED HD touchscreen on the dock, rather than a screen at the front and back, or a flippable design like the Insta360 GO series. So unlike the Ultra, where you can flip the screen in either direction quickly and easily, with the Nano you have to detach and remount the camera every time you want to go from shooting your environment to talking to the camera, if you want to see yourself, that is. In addition, unlike the GO Ultra, which simply plops back into place with strong magnets, flipping the Osmo Nano around is a bit fiddly, making sure those locking clips securely grip the camera module so it's nice and secure each time. While ruggedness is key for an action camera, and thankfully we do retain a removable lens cover, which means it can be easily replaced if cracked or chipped, note that only the wearable part of the Osmo Nano is waterproof. The camera is IPX8 rated for submersion up to 10 meters underwater. The dock itself is only splash resistant, although I wouldn't fancy its chances even in a heavy rain shower. This limits potential usage and introduces a little caution to creativity when shooting. Anyways, like the button on the camera module, we find another on the side of the dock. These also act as power switches and they require some force to push down, so you're not likely to press them accidentally. Otherwise, there's a small flap that opens up on the other side of the dock to reveal the USB 3.1 port for charging and transferring files, plus the micro SD card slot, which takes up to a 1TB card. So while the camera module is available in 64 and 128GB capacities, footage then needs to be transferred to the memory card manually, which we'll come back to shortly. Otherwise, it is a rather nice design, and if you're after a small, relatively discreet camera to mount to yourself or to your subject, or just something that's easy enough to attach to different metal surfaces in a pinch, then it works really well. So the first time you power up, you will need to go through that annoying activation process, for which a smartphone with the DJI Mimo app will be required. It's a pretty straightforward process though, and once complete, it will also take you through the camera firmware update procedure, ensuring the camera is completely up to date with the latest fixes and improvements. Otherwise, you'll go through an entire mini tutorial, which is handy, although it's all pretty easy and intuitive to use regardless, thanks to a menu system that will be instantly familiar to anyone who has used a DJI device like the Action 5 Pro or Pocket 3 before. Operated via swipe and push gestures, additional features and settings can be quickly accessed, and DJI really has this intuitive menu system dialed in and refined. Saying that, at 1.96 inches, the small screen means you need to be extra precise with your touch gestures to bring up menus and dial in settings. You may find you sometimes have to tap the screen a few times to activate settings. It of course goes further. If you uncouple the two modules, they will still be connected remotely, and this is incredibly useful in the field. For example, you can attach the camera unit to a mount accessory and then use the multifunctional vision dock as a remote camera to not only keep an eye on your composition, but to adjust settings and to remotely start and stop recording. A full live preview remote control module. Now, it can be argued that you can achieve the same results by using the excellent DJI Mimo companion app, which is of course compatible with the DJI Nano and works perfectly well, but in the field, the dock is the easier option to use, enabling you to make these changes even quicker and easier, considering it's always connected and ready to be used. It's reliable and snappy too, no issues there at all. You'll get all the standard mounting options like a magnetic neck pendant to wear around your neck, as well as a hat clip, even a suction cup mount, which is nice, complete with a standard 1/4 inch thread beneath it, all very handy to get you going, but you'll need to spend extra for anything else. Saying that, the magnetic mounting system is shared across all of DJI's action camera range, which is a definite win for those who already have a collection of mounts at the ready. At the heart of the Osmo Nano is a 1/1.3 inch sensor, which enables the Nano to capture high resolution 4K video up to 60p and a 4K 120p mode for capturing slow motion footage. What's more, the Nano includes DJI's 10-bit and D-Log technology. The 10-bit video allows the capture of up to 1 billion colors and 72% more color space than 8-bit standard video. The sensor helps the Nano capture 13.5 stops of dynamic range, and there's also a number of advanced stabilization features found in other DJI devices, such as DJI's Rocksteady 3 stabilization, which works amazingly well in the field. The Nano also incorporates the horizon balancing technology too, all impressive specs for such a small physical frame. The image quality is good for an action camera of this size, as ever it won't completely replace a full-sized or full-frame camera, but that's not the expectation here. The fixed 143-degree ultra-wide field of view is perfect for first-person POV shots, and the results are really very good. 4K resolution is sharp and punchy, and even in 8-bit color mode, the camera seems to capture vibrant blue skies and leafy greens, and handles quick changes in light well. All very similar to the larger Action 5 Pro in fact, and all very impressive. Of course, we do have that 10-bit D-Log M color mode available too, designed to preserve the maximum color and brightness info in the video file, especially in lights and darks. Although to be fair, I feel most using this type of camera aren't going to be professional color graders. It's more a run and gun family holiday style camera that'll capture the moment without being too complex and cumbersome. DJI's Super Night mode does a decent job of reducing noise in low light, although it only works at up to 30 frames per second and with 8-bit color, which might limit its utility for serious cinematographers. While it produces some impressive results, especially considering it's a small wearable camera, it's still bound by the laws of physics. A smaller lens and sensor will always have a certain limitation compared to a larger, more dedicated camera. There's some AI smoothing being applied to reduce noise in low light footage, but this is less obvious to the untrained eye, and less muddy than some night modes I've seen on earlier action cameras. Audio quality, however, is pretty good, on par with other action cameras, although you do have the ability to easily connect wireless microphones like the DJI Mic series. The resulting audio quality is then great, which is expected in this day and age. More than adequate for this style of camera, although do note that when using a wireless microphone it will take priority over the live stream, so you use one or the other, not both, which can get a little annoying depending upon your setup. Talking of annoyances, the other to note is that you cannot view back any captured footage without the camera being docked first. so no remote playback whatsoever. If you want to play back a clip to make sure the scene was in frame, you need to manually retrieve the camera and dock it first, which can get annoying. While the in-camera storage options, limited to 64 and 128GB, can be another limitation, the camera module can be easily docked and all captured content transferred to the microSD card inserted into the dock. This does mean you need to wait for transfer to complete before you can get shooting again, but it's a handy operation and seemed perfectly reliable throughout my testing. Another limitation to be aware of is battery life, particularly when shooting at high resolutions like 4K 60. I got closer to 60 minutes of continuous recording at 4K 30, which isn't bad for its size, but of course that lags behind the multi-hour endurance of larger cameras. While docked, I found I achieved around 2 hours. If you tend to record short clips throughout a longer day, it's nothing to worry about, and I could easily get through the day with battery to spare. Saying that, you'll definitely want to ensure you have adequate airflow, since even at 4K 30 the camera tends to overheat at around the 20-minute mark if left stationary in a warm environment. I found it generally runs quite warm to the touch regardless, a reason why DJI included this protective housing, not to protect the camera, but to protect your fingers from the heat. Not really a fix in my opinion, although with some airflow I found overheating wasn't an issue during my testing. What is impressive is that not long ago you would need to spend premium prices to get this kind of image quality, and you still wouldn't have got close to the level of flexibility that the tiny size makes possible. It might actually be a better choice as an action camera than a traditional one thanks to its size and ease of use. This really is a great first attempt by DJI at the wearable mini camera sector. It produces excellent results from a range of shooting options. Even though the night shots left me wanting more, it has a large feature set and it's flexible in how and where it can be used, making it a great alternative to a market that Insta360 has long dominated with its range of comparably small solutions, especially if you've already invested into the DJI ecosystem.